Namaste, welcome all of you. This is our 20th lecture in the series of online lectures and we are learning bookkeeping and accountancy standard 12th. See, you would be only able to understand this lecture if you have seen my earlier lectures, especially lecture number 19. Okay, now we are learning bookkeeping and accountancy standard 12th of Maharashtra Board HSC Board and we are learning lesson number 1, that is introduction to partnership and partnership final accounts. Okay, and what we have covered so far, so far we have covered these many competency statements as stated by the HSC Board. Okay, now, and what we are currently doing, currently we are learning how to find out the financial results of the business. Okay, which business? Partnership business. See, there are two methods of maintaining the capital accounts of the partners, either by fixed capital method or by fluctuating capital method. Okay, and these are the most important adjustments regarding bad debts, RDD, discount and reserve for discount on debtors and creditors, which must be by heart for you. Similarly, these adjustments regarding bills payable, bills receivable, bad debts, RDD and discount and reserve for discount and debtors and creditors. Okay, so these are the most important adjustments. Okay, now what did we learn in our last lecture? In our last lecture, we had solved practical problem number 6, that is of Archana and Prerna. Okay, those were the two partners and that problem we have solved, which was given on page number 59. Okay, and what we are going to see today? See, in this lecture, we are going to solve illustration number Nene and Kane. Okay, see, two partners are Nene and Kane, that is illustration. So the illustration has been solved in the book. I will just explain it to you, which is given on page number 43 to 45. Okay, now see, we are going to solve illustration number 8. Okay, now this is the illustration number 8 and what is the problem? Nene and Kane are partners sharing profits and losses in the ratio 6:4. See, what is their profit sharing ratio? 6:4. What is 6:4? It is 3:2. Means 3 parts of profit will go to Nene and 2 parts of profit will go to Kane. From the trial balance and adjustments given below, prepare trading and profit and loss account for the year ending and balance sheet as on that date. Okay, so this is the trial balance given of Nene and Kane. Okay, debit balance column is there and credit balance column is there. Okay, and 5 adjustments has been given. Okay, now how to solve it? See, in my earlier lectures also I had given you one trick to solve such problems. Okay, see, whatever items are given on the debit side of the trial balance, see, whatever items on the debit side of the trial balance, where they can be posted, see, either they can be posted to the trading account debit side or profit and loss account debit side or to the assets, or can be deducted from the sales, or will be recorded to the partner's capital or current account debit side, or can be deducted from the partner's capital in the liability side. Okay, this was for the items given on the debit side of the trial balance. Okay, so these are the items given on the debit side of the trial balance. Okay, now where the items of the credit side of the trial balance should be recorded? See, with the simple trick. Okay, see, the items given on the credit side of the trial balance can be recorded to the trading account credit side, profit and loss account credit side, can be recorded to the liabilities, can be deducted from purchases, can be recorded to the partner's capital or current account to the credit side, or can be added to the partner's capital in the liability side. Okay, so in these 6 ways, the items in the debit side or in the credit side of the trial balance can be recorded. Okay, so since our last 2-3 lectures, we are not making a marking against the items given in the trial balance. Okay, why? Using this simple trick, we will directly record them. Why? It was a time consuming task. Okay, so we will simply remember this trick and we will record the items given in the trial balance. Okay, now in this illustration, okay, only one important and new item is there. Okay, which is that item, that is provident fund. Okay, see, provident fund is a new item, okay, given in this illustration. Okay, and what is meant by this provident fund? See, in our earlier lecture, that is in illustration number 7, provident fund was also introduced. Okay, but then also I will introduce what is meant by provident fund again. Okay, see, what is meant by provident fund? See, a provident fund is a compulsory government managed retirement savings scheme. It is used in Singapore, India, etc. and other developing countries. The money in the fund is then held and managed by the government and eventually withdrawn by retirees or in certain countries their surviving families. What does this mean? See, what is the word meaning provident? See, which verb is hidden in it? It is to provide. Okay, see, for the future of the employees, okay, some money has been provided. Okay, some provision has been made of some money for the future of the employees. And how the provision is made? See, you can come to know by this pig, right? Okay, see, what is doing? Employee is there and employee is holding this pig in his hand, and employer is given some money to save into that pig, but this is in the hands of employee. Okay, see, this piggy bank is in the hands of employee. Employee is holding the piggy bank. Okay, but employer is giving some money to deposit in this piggy bank. What we can understand from this? See, to secure the future of the employees, some of the amount from his salary are deducted and kept reserved in provident fund. Okay, you can consider it as a piggy bank. Okay, some share from the employee's salary is deducted and kept in the provident fund. Okay, as well as some share is also given by the employer. Okay, for what? For the benefit of for the future of the employee. This is called as provident fund. Okay, and when this provident fund can be withdrawn by the employee? See, this provident fund is especially meant for his future. Okay, for his after his retirement. Okay, but the person or the employee can withdraw the money which is saved in the provident fund, which are collected in the provident fund at the time of his retirement or whenever he wants to withdraw the money. Okay, so that money is kept in the provident fund. And which companies collects this provident fund, cuts this provident fund? See, the industries which are in the organized sector, in which there are minimum 20 employees, those industries maintain the provident fund. Okay, now see, provident fund is a compulsory government managed retired savings scheme. For whom? For the employees who can contribute a part of their savings. See, employees are contributing a part of their savings towards their pension fund every month. See, it is cut in from the salary of their every month salary. These monthly savings get accumulated. What is meant by accumulated? Collected, gathered together every month and can be accessed as a lump sum amount at the time of retirement or end of employment, or whenever he wants to retire from his work. Okay, since the provident fund money consists of a large chunk of savings, it can also be used to grow your retirement corps easily. Okay, because lots of money are collected in this provident fund. Okay, because a specific amount of money from his salary are deducted and kept in his for his security in his provident fund. Okay, it is a fund. So as it is a fund, and employee has also to give his share, as well as employer also has to give his share for the benefit of the future of the employee. So for the employer it is a liability, because he has to keep that fund reserve. Okay, that fund reserve for giving to the employee. So provident fund is a liability for the employer. Okay, and now we are thinking of whom? With the view of employer. which employer? Partners. Okay, so for us, when we are solving the problems of partnership, provident fund is a liability for the employer. Okay, see, provident fund is also called as employee provident fund. Employee provident fund stands for employee provident fund. That is a scheme for providing a monetary benefit to all salaried individuals after their retirement. The process is monitored by the Employee Provident Fund Organization of India. See, there is one organization in India, government organization, that organization is called as Employee Provident Fund Organization of India. Okay, which looks after those money which has been collected. Okay, any organization that has more than 20 employees and which is an organized sector must register with Employees Provident Fund. Okay, this scheme is very beneficial for all employees for developing a cause after their retirement. In this process, an amount is deducted from their monthly salary and is put into the EPF account. Okay, the amount collected in the EPF account is provided to the employees after they retire. Okay, so whatever amount has been collected by the employer and by the employee, which is saved as a fund in provident fund, and that can be given to the employees after they retire. Okay, see, and from where the money is collected in this provident fund? See, in two ways. Employee or member. See, employee is also called as the member of the provident fund. Employee or member, and how much he will provide? An amount will be deducted from the employee's monthly salary, and that is called as employee's contribution. Okay, whatever has been deducted from his monthly salary, employee's monthly salary is called as employee's contribution. Similarly, it is contributed from employer also. Okay, from the owner also. See, the employer will contribute a portion into the fund each month besides the usual salary payment made to the employer, made by the employer, not to by the employer. This contribution is in the fund is called as employer's contribution. Okay, whatever employer contributes, okay, apart from the salary given to the employee, that is called as employer's contribution for the provision of the future for the employee. Okay, and this fund can be invested into the by the investment management companies, which will invest that money in various securities to maximize the financial returns. Okay, see, again this is important thing. This fund is managed by the investment management company so as to get the maximum returns on that investment. Okay, this fund is again invested. Okay, now, and how much is the employee's contribution? See, employee's contribution means his portion from his salary. His means whose? Employees or members' salary. Okay, the amount of money that the member contributes into the fund will be deducted from the monthly salary. It can be minimum 2% to 15% of his salary of the each month. The term depends on the fund scheme set by the employer. Terms means period. This was for employee's contribution. Okay, some amount of salary which can be 2% to 15%, varying from 2% to 15%, which is dependent on the employer. Okay, and what is employer's contribution? See, how much of portion of money employer should contribute? See, the amount of money contributed by the employer each month at a rate not less than the contribution made by the member, but not exceeding 15% of the monthly salary. Terms depend on the fund schemes set by the employer. See, how much should be the employer's contribution? See, not less than employee's contribution. See, whatever is the contribution, percentage contribution of the employee, employers must be equal or more than that. Okay, but not more than 15% of the salary of the employee. Okay, for what? This is contribution for in the provident fund, okay, which is provided for the future benefit of employee. Okay, now let's start to see how it is and where it is recorded. See, in this example, 4 different words regarding provident fund are given. 4 different items are given. Okay, for you those are four different and new words. Okay, so which are those 4 different items? See, first it is provident fund investment. Okay, it is provident fund investment with the amount of rupees 8 lakh, which is given on debit side of the trial balance. Okay, see, provident fund investment which is given on the debit side of the trial balance. Okay, now second is provident fund contribution. Okay, this is also the amount of rupees 1 lakh, which is also given on the debit side of the trial balance. And provident fund, only provident fund term is there of amounting rupees 2,80,000, which is given on the credit side of the trial balance. Okay, and last, interest on provident fund investment rupees 42,000, again it is on the credit side of the trial balance. What does this mean and where they should be posted as per the rule which I just taught you for posting the items given in the debit side and credit side. Now here with the same word provident fund and little variations after that word, total 4 new terms are there, which 4 new items are there in the trial balance. Now what should be done? See, what is the rule? What is meant by provident fund investment, provident fund contribution? See, I will explain you provident fund contribution first. See, what I meant by provident fund contribution, for that I explained you a lot just now. See, provident fund contribution is contribution of the employer towards the future benefit of employee. So it is an expense for the employer, right? Because he has to deduct or he has to give some money in that piggy bank which is in the hands of employee. See, employer has to give some portion apart from the salary to the employee. Okay, so it is an expense for him. So provident fund contribution of the employer, it is an expense for him. So this contribution is recorded to the profit and loss account debit side. Okay, it is an expense. Now this provident fund which is given on the liability side rupees 2,80,000, which was actually due to be given to the employees. Okay, which was, see, the money were collected in the provident fund and rupees 2,80,000 were due to be given to the employees. Okay, rupees 2,80,000 which are written against that item provident fund, rupees 2,80,000 which are of who is the owner of that money? Actually the employees. Okay, so this is the liability for the business. So this provident fund is a liability. Okay, now see, what did I say you in my earlier slide? See, money placed in provident fund will be managed by an investment management company, which will invest that money in various securities to maximize the financial returns. Okay, see, what does this mean? Okay, employer has contributed, okay, for employee. Okay, employees has also contributed for themselves. Okay, so some amount of money has been gathered or collected with the business, with the firm, and that firm invests that money somewhere in some financial investment companies so that they can get the maximum returns out of that money, instead of keeping that money idle or instead of keeping that money with government, because government gives them the certain rate of interest. Okay, so for getting more interest, more benefit, okay, to maximize the profit, some firms keeps them on investing with some industry, investing with some financial institution. Okay, see, why? To maximize the profit, to get the more interest. Okay, so they have invested that provident fund in some financial organization, that is called as provident fund investment, okay, which is amounting to rupees 8 lakh. Okay, now after investing that provident fund with some financial institution, they will get some interest, and that interest belongs to whom? See, whose money they had invested? They had invested employees' money. Okay, so whatever interest they receive from that investment will belong to whom? Obviously, that will belong also to the employees. Okay, so that after getting that interest on that investment, that should be given to the employees. So interest on provident fund investment is again a liability for the company. Okay, it is a liability. See how to remember this simply. There is one keyword also. You can remember by some keywords also. Okay, see which are those keywords. I will tell you. See, investment word is given. Okay, investment. What is meant by investment? Investment is an asset. Okay, so if provident fund investment is given, it is recorded as an asset. Okay, then fund word is given. Okay, what is fund? Always fund means a liability. Okay, so if fund word is given, it is a liability. Okay, now apart from that, contribution. What is meant by contribution? A part of amount or portion of amount which is given by the employer for the benefit, future benefit of employee. So that is a expense for the employer. See, as it is expenses to the company, it is recorded to the profit and loss account debit side. Okay, and the next term, that is interest on provident fund investment. Okay, interest on provident fund investment. See, the money which they have contributed and they had collected against the provident fund, which was the liability, they had invested into the some financial institution, and whatever interest they will get from the financial institution against that provident fund, that whatever interest on that investment which will belong to that provident fund, because that provident fund belongs to the employees and they have to pay that provident fund at the time of retirement to the employee. Okay, so for the time being it is the liability to the organization. Okay, so whatever interest they received on the investment which is done for the provident fund, okay, or which is done for the from the provident fund, okay, so that amount will belong to employees. Okay, so that is recorded to the liability. Okay, now I think you have came to know very well. Now let's move to the adjustments. First adjustment, closing stock rupees 3,60,000, and where it is recorded as usual, closing stock is recorded at to the trading account credit side and to the asset. Next, outstanding wages rupees 3,000 and salaries rupees 2,000. See, outstanding means not paid to the end of the financial year or till making the books of accounts. Now outstanding wages, so wages are recorded to the trading account debit side. So this amount of outstanding wages is added to that specific adjustment, to that specific item, which is that item wages, and where wages are recorded trading account debit side, as well as its second entry will be recorded to the liability, because those have not been paid yet. Similarly, for salaries of rupees 2,000 has not yet been paid. Okay, so we have to pay, and so salaries should be recorded as the salaries are recorded to the profit and loss account debit side. Okay, so that much of amount should be added to that specific item to the profit and loss account debit side. Okay, rupees 2,000, which item? Salaries. Depreciate motor vehicle at 5% per annum. See, it is the depreciation. So depreciation should be recorded to the profit and loss account debit side, and that much of value of depreciation, 5% value of its book value, should be deducted from that specific asset. Which asset here? Motor vehicle. Write off bad debts of rupees 5,000 and provide for RDD at 5% on Sunday debtors. Okay, write off bad debts. So these are the new bad debts, and where new bad debts are recorded? See, where new bad debts are recorded? To the profit and loss account debit side as per the formula. Okay, so this 5,000 will be recorded or added to the profit and loss account debit side as per the formula, should be added, and the same would be deducted from the sundry debtors at the asset side. Next, RDD, we have to provide additional RDD, new RDD at 5% on the sundry debtors. Okay, so this new RDD should also be recorded to the profit and loss account debit side, same. Okay, profit and loss account debit side, it should be added as per the formula, and that new RDD should also be deducted from the sundry debtors at the asset side. And last adjustment, Kane withdrew goods of rupees 6,000 for his personal use. Okay, so this is what drawings. Goods withdrawn means those are the drawings, and where drawings should be recorded. See, these drawings are in terms of goods. Okay, because Kane had withdrawn the goods from the company for his personal use. So goods are going out, and when the goods are going out for any reason, they are recorded to the trading account credit side. Okay, and what is the second effect? That is the drawing. So where the drawing is recorded, it should be deducted from the partner's capital account from the liability side. Okay, if you are maintaining in the balance sheet. Okay, partner's capital we are maintaining the balance sheet, then it should be deducted from the partner's capital in the liability. Otherwise, if you are maintaining partner's capital or a current account, then it should be recorded to the drawings. Okay, now so far we have come to know how the adjustment should be recorded, how the items in the adjustment should be recorded. Now next, we will make some marking. Outstanding wages and salaries will make, against salaries we will make 2 marks. Okay, against salaries we will make 2 marks, and against wages we will make 2 marks. Okay, next, depreciate motor vehicle at 5%. So we will make 1 mark, 2 marks against motor vehicles. Okay, against motor vehicles 2 marks. Okay, 2 marks against motor vehicles. Then write off bad debts and RDD. Okay, for this we have to make marking against two markings against bad debts and RDD. Okay, so against bad debts and against sundry debtors, because that would be deducted from sundry debtors. Okay, so one more marking is required over here against sundry debtors also and against bad debts also. Okay, one more marking is required over here for bad debts and RDD. Then Kane withdrew goods. So for withdrawal of the goods, it should be recorded to the Kane's capital account. Okay, see, against Kane's capital account we have to make 2 markings. Now with this we have done the marking against adjustment to the items given in the trial balance. Okay, now with the trick which I have shown you, which I have told you, we will directly record the items. Okay, now see, capital of Nene and Kane is, the problem is starting with the capital itself. Capital of Nene and Kane, rupees 15 lakh and rupees 10 lakh. See, this is the first entry. Capital of Nene and Kane, rupees Nene and Kane, capital of rupees 15 lakh and 10 lakh. Okay, where we will record it. See, it is given on the credit side, so we record it to the balance sheet. Okay, see, balance sheet, capitals. See, this is the balance sheet as on 31st March 2019. Capital of Nene rupees 50 lakh and capital of Kane rupees 10 lakh. Okay, so first item from trial balance we have recorded. Then sundry debtors. Sundry debtors rupees 4 lakh 50,000, and where sundry debtors are recorded? Balance sheet asset side. Okay, sundry debtors. See, sundry debtors amounting to rupees 4 lakh 50,000 we have recorded to the inner column because there are adjustments. Okay, then sundry creditors which are given on the credit side, sundry creditors amounting to rupees 3 lakh. Okay, so where sundry creditors are recorded? To the balance sheet. Balance sheet, sundry creditors amounting to rupees 3 lakh. Okay, we have recorded. Next, rent of rupees 10 months amounting to rupees 10,000. See, this is an hidden adjustment. See, rent adjustment for rent is a hidden adjustment, and where rent is recorded in the profit and loss account debit side. So whatever adjustment regarding rent should be done at the profit and loss account debit side. Okay, so this is in the books of Nene and Kane, trading and profit and loss account. So we will move to the profit and loss account part. Okay, see, the amount of rent is given rupees 10,000, and what it is said, it is paid for, rent is paid for 10 months only. It means rent of 2 months is still outstanding. Okay, so this is an hidden adjustment. So rent, we have to record it to the profit and loss account debit side. Rent of rupees 10,000. Okay, and the rent is paid for 10 months. See, the rent for 10 months is rupees 10,000. So what is the rent for 1 month? It is obviously 1,000, and rent should be paid for 12 months. Okay, so still outstanding rent is for 2 months rent is outstanding. If the rent for 1 month is rupees 1,000, so the outstanding rent for 2 months is rupees 2,000. Okay, so the total rent due or total rent on should be rupees 12,000. Okay, now what should we do with this 2,000? See, 2,000 is an outstanding expense. Okay, it is an outstanding expense. So outstanding expense should be recorded to the balance sheet liability side. Okay, see, as there are different outstanding expenses, a separate head has been made. Outstanding expenses head has been made in the liability side of the balance sheet. And what is the outstanding expenses against rent? It is rupees 2,000. Okay, see, this was a hidden adjustment. This adjustment was not given explicitly in the adjustment. See, this adjustment was not given because it is a hidden adjustment. Why? See, if something is written in the bracket against any item given in the trial balance, then there can be a hidden adjustment. What was the hidden adjustment? That rent was paid for 10 months. It means rent of 2 months was yet not paid. Okay, now stock given on 1st April 2018 rupees 5,35,500. Obviously it is an opening stock. Opening stock trading account debit side 5,35,500. Okay, opening stock. Okay, trading account debit side rupees 5,35,500. Next, premises. Premises is what? Asset. So assets, premises is recorded in the asset 8,50,000. Where assets are recorded? Balance sheet. Balance sheet, premises. See, this is balance sheet. Asset side, premises of rupees. See, these are the premises of rupees 8,50,000. Okay. Next, after premises it is salaries. Salaries rupees 50,000, and there is an adjustment. So salaries of rupees 50,000 should be recorded to the profit and loss account debit side. Okay, in the inner column. See, salaries of rupees 50,000, profit and loss account debit side, inner column. Okay, because there is an adjustment. Next, discount. See, discount is given on, see, there are two discounts given over here. Discount on the debit side as well as discount on the credit side. Okay, see, what you will do in this case, there are two discounts. So discount given on the debit side, what it is an expense. Okay, so in the debit amount, the discount given, it is an expense. So where discount expenses are recorded? Profit and loss account debit side. Okay, and for this another discount of rupees 950, which is given on the credit side of the trial balance. So this is what? Income. So where incomes are recorded? It is recorded to the profit and loss account credit side. Okay, so the two discounts, rupees 800 is the discount given and rupees 950 is the discount received. And where the discounts are recorded? To the profit and loss account debit and credit side. Okay, so profit and loss account to discount. Okay, this is to discount mean discount given. To discount given rupees 800. Similarly, by discount. Okay, this is what discount received rupees 950. Okay, next. Motor vehicle. Motor vehicle is an asset. Motor vehicle amounting to rupees 3,70,000. Okay, there is an adjustment, so it should be recorded to the balance sheet asset side with the in the inner column. Motor vehicle rupees 3,70,000. Okay, next. Sales of amounting to rupees 8,40,500. Sales. See, sales amounting to rupees 8,40,500. Okay, amounting to rupees 8,40,500. And where sales are recorded? Sales are recorded to the trading account credit side. Okay, so we record sales to the trading account credit side. By sales rupees 8,40,500. Okay, trading account credit side. Next, purchases amounting to rupees 6,40,500. 6,40,500 purchases are recorded to the trading account debit side. Okay, so trading account debit side, purchases rupees 6,40,500 inner column, because there can be adjustment of returning of the purchase return. Okay, so we are recorded to the inner column. Next, wages. See, wages rupees 10,000. Okay, wages rupees 10,000, but there is an adjustment against wages, so wages should be recorded to the trading account debit side in the inner column. See, trading account debit side to wages amounting to rupees 10,000. Okay, next, office expenses. Office expenses amounting to rupees 20,000. Where those are recorded? Profit and loss account debit side. See, to office expenses rupees 20,000. Next, bank overdraft. Okay, bank overdraft amounting to rupees 1,50,000. What is bank overdraft? I have already taught you in my earlier lectures also, but it is a facility given by the bank to the customers. Which customers? Bank customers who has current accounts with them, which are meant for the businesses. So businessman can withdraw more amount than that they are having in their account. That is called as overdraft. Okay, they are withdrawing more amount, okay, by mortgaging something. This is called as bank overdraft facility, which is given by the bank. And how much of bank overdraft they have taken? Rupees 1,50,000. And where bank overdrafts are recorded? See, where bank overdrafts are recorded, it is recorded to the liability, because they have to return it to them for the same, for they have taken for some time or some period only. Okay, it's a kind of loan against some mortgage, but that is against their current account which is with them in their bank. So bank overdraft is a liability. Okay, so it is recorded to the liability side. Bank overdraft rupees 1,50,000. Next, returns. See, again there are two amounts given against returns. Okay, returns, one in debit side and one is credit side. Okay, two amounts are given against returns. So what is returns basically? See, if we have purchased from somebody and we have returned them, otherwise we have sold a material to somebody and they have returned us. Now there is simple trick. What is recorded on the debit side? Purchases are recorded on the debit side. Okay, so if purchases has been returned, okay, so they should be recorded to the credit side. Okay, so whatever amount is there on the credit side against the item returns, that is purchase return. Okay, now where the sales are recorded? Sales are recorded to the credit side. Okay, and whatever has been returned by the customers to whom we have sold, okay, that is against the sales. So against the sales are recorded on the debit side. Okay, so whatever is there on the debit side against the item returns, that is sales return. Okay, it is sales return. And whatever is there on the credit side of the trial balance against the item return, it is purchase return. But why? Because purchases are recorded to the debit side and sales are recorded to the credit side. Okay, like this. Now returns we have to record. Rupees 5,500 we have to record to rupees 5,500 we have to record to sales return, and rupees 3,500 we have to record to purchases. Okay, and this we have to record against sales return, means we have to deduct that much of amount. Okay, see where purchases and sales are recorded, trading account. So purchases we have to deduct less purchase returns amounting to rupees 3,500. Okay, and sales amount return amount rupees 5,500 we have to deduct from the sales. Okay, and we have to take the value to the outer side, that is 8,40,500 were the sales. Out of that 5,500 amount of sales has been returned. So what are the total sales value? Net sales value, it is 8,35,000. Similarly, we had purchased the goods of amounting rupees 6,40,500. Out of that we had returned the goods amounting rupees 3,500. So what is the net purchase? It is 6,37,000. Okay, next purchases we have done, returns we have done. Then provident fund investment, I have taught you earlier. Okay, just in this video, provident fund investment. So whatever they have invested out of the money of the provident fund, okay, that is an asset because it is an investment. So provident fund investment amounting rupees 8 lakh we have to record to the balance sheet asset side. See, balance sheet asset side, this is the single word. Provident fund investment is a single word. Okay, provident fund investment is rupees 8 lakh. Okay, provident fund investment rupees 8 lakh we have recorded to the balance sheet asset side. See, this is balance sheet asset side. Next, cash in hand. What is cash in hand? Cash in hand is a current asset. So where it is recorded? Cash in hand rupees 40,000. Okay, next, provident fund contribution. See, I have told you contribution is what? The portion or part of the money which is given by the employer for the future benefit of the employee. So this is the contribution made by the employer. So it is an expense for him. So what is the amount of provident fund contribution? It is rupees 1 lakh. So 1 lakh rupees has been given as a contribution by the employer against the provident fund of the employees, means in the piggy bank of employee. So it should be recorded to the as an expense for the employer. So provident fund contribution rupees 1 lakh should be recorded to the profit and loss account debit side. See, this is profit and loss account, and profit and loss account debit side we have to record it as to provident fund contribution amount rupees 1 lakh. Okay, next, provident fund. Okay, provident fund rupees 2,80,000 it is the fund which is prepared for giving to the employees only. This money belongs to employees only, but we haven't yet given them because nobody has retired or nobody has asked for returning them. So it is a liability for us because we have to return it. So this provident fund, which is the money of the employees itself, rupees 2,80,000 is obviously a liability. So this should be recorded to the balance sheet liability side. Okay, balance sheet liability side, provident fund amounting to rupees 2,80,000. Okay, next item, provident fund. See, provident fund contribution, then provident fund we have done. Then cash at bank rupees 2 lakh. What is cash at bank? Obviously asset, current asset. Cash at bank rupees 2 lakh. Okay, rupees 2 lakh. Then in interest on provident fund investment rupees 42,000. See, they had invested the provident fund with the financial institution so that they can get maximum interest out of that investment. Okay, so interest, they whatever they have received on that provident fund investment, that obviously belongs to whom? That belongs to the employees only. So it is again a liability. So interest on provident fund again is a liability which is on the credit side, that should be recorded to the balance sheet liability. Okay, this is balance sheet, and we have to add that interest on provident fund. Provident fund investment, interest on provident fund investment, rupees 42,000. To which item we should add? To the provident fund. Okay, see how we should write it. We have already written provident fund item. Provident fund amounting to rupees 2,80,000 we have recorded into inner side. We have to record like this: add interest on provident fund investment amounting to rupees 42,000. Okay, so the total amount due for the employees against provident fund is their original principal and their interest amount amounting to rupees 3,22,000. Okay, next, drawings of Nene and Kane amounting to rupees 20,000 and 50,000. See, drawings of Nene and Kane amounting to rupees 20,000 and 50,000 should be 15,000 should be recorded to their capitals in the balance sheet. Okay, see. So drawings of Nene we have to record at 20,000 and drawings of Kane rupees 21,000. Why this 21,000? See, his drawings were 15,000 and he had withdrawn the goods amounting to rupees 6,000. So that was a drawing again. So total drawings on the head of Kane are rupees 21,000. Okay, so we have to record how we have to record against their names, against their capital. We have to mark them as less drawings. Okay, less drawings. Okay, here less drawings. See, less drawings amounting to 21,000 against Kane, and less drawings amounting to rupees 20,000 drawings 20,000 against Nene. Okay, next, drawings. Then what is remaining? Bad debts. Bad debts amounting to rupees 3,350. These are the old bad debts. So the old bad debts are recorded to the profit and loss account debit side. See, the old bad debts old rupees 3,350. Next, to the inner column, because there is an adjustment. RDD. See, this is the old RDD. Old RDD amounting to rupees 3,700. Okay, so old RDD we have to record to we have to deduct it from the profit and loss account debit side. Okay, see, profit and loss account debit side, less old RDD we have to deduct. Less old RDD amounted to rupees 3,700 in the inner column. With this we have completed recording or posting all the items from the trial balance debit and credit side. Now let's move to the adjustments. Closing stock rupees 3,60,000. Where closing stock is recorded? Closing stock is recorded to the trading account credit side and asset. See, closing stock is recorded to trading account and credit side amounted to rupees 3,60,000. Okay, so the trading account credit side, by closing stock rupees 3,60,000. Okay, and the same should be recorded to the balance sheet asset side, closing stock rupees 3,60,000. Okay, first adjustment we have completed. Let's move to the second adjustment. Outstanding wages rupees 3,000 and salaries rupees 2,000. Where outstanding wages and salaries are recorded to the respective items. Again, see, our wages should be recorded to the trading account debit side and salary should be recorded to the profit and loss account debit side, should be added to the respective item. Which respective item? Salaries and wages and salaries. Okay, so where wages are recorded? Trading account debit side. So wages we had already written in the inner column. Now we have to record like this: add outstanding wages amounting to rupees 3,000. So the total wages are rupees 13,000. Similarly, for the salaries, earlier salaries were rupees 50,000 and outstanding salaries are rupees 2,000. So the total salaries due are rupees 52,000. Okay, and that is a liability for the time being. So where the liability is recorded, liabilities are recorded in the balance sheet liability side. Okay, so against the head outstanding expenses we can record wages and salaries. Wages of outstanding wages rupees 3000 and outstanding salaries rupees 2000. And earlier against hidden adjustment of rent, okay, we had already recorded outstanding rent amounting to rupees 2000. So total outstanding expenses are 3000 of wages, 2000 of salaries and 2000 of rent. So total outstanding expenses are rupees 7000. Okay, we have completed adjustment number 2. Now depreciate motor vehicle at 5% per annum. Where it should be recorded? See, it should be recorded to the balance sheet asset side. Okay, what was the value of motor vehicle? Rupees 3,70,000. And what is its depreciation at the rate of 5%? See, 5% of 3,70,000 is rupees 18,500. So we have to deduct that amount from the asset, that is motor vehicle, and the final amount of written down value of motor vehicle is rupees 3,51,500. And where the other recording of that depreciation should be done? It should be done to the profit and loss account debit side. Okay, so we will go to the profit and loss account debit side. See, to depreciation on motor vehicle rupees 18,500. Okay, we have recorded the profit and loss account debit side. Okay, now next adjustment. Write off bad debts rupees 5,000 and provide for RDD at 5% on sundry debtors. Okay, so bad debts we have to write off from first adjustment we can do to the trading account, profit and loss account debit side also. Okay, so how to write? Old bad debts we had, right? How much was the old bad debts? Rupees 3,350. And now what should be done? New bad debts should be recorded or added to the old bad debts in the profit and loss account debit side in the inner column. So rupees 5,000 should be added, okay, to the old bad debts. And where is second entry is done, that much of amount of new bad debt should be deducted from the sundry debtors. Okay, in the asset side of the balance sheet, sundry debtors were of rupees 4,50,000. So we have to deduct new bad debts. That is which bad debts? New bad debts. Okay, new bad debts amounting to rupees 5,000. Okay, so 4,45,000 is the amount of the bad debts of the debtors after deducting the new bad debts. Okay, so 2 entries we have done. Now in the same adjustment number 4, there is second sub adjustment, that is provide for RDD at 5% on sundry debtors. Okay, provide for RDD. So we have to provide new RDD on sundry debtors at the rate of 5%. Okay, so this calculation should be done in asset first. Okay, so asset side first in the debtors. So this new RDD at 5% we have to deduct. So how 5% should be calculated on the amount of the sundry debtors which are remaining after doing all the adjustment on the sundry debtors. This is the basic rule. See, this percentage RDD should be calculated on the remaining amount of the sundry debtors after doing all the adjustment of on sundry debtors. So what is the remaining amount? 4,45,000. After doing which adjustment? That after deducting the new bad debts. So 4,45,000 is the remaining bad debts. On those remaining bad debtors, we have to calculate the new RDD at the rate of 5%. So what is the 5% of 4,45,000? It is rupees 22,250. Okay, so after deducting this new RDD, the final amount of debtors are rupees 4,22,750. Okay, now we have to record this new RDD percentage added to the trading profit and loss account debit side. Okay, we have to add it 22,250. See, new RDD. See, to the bad debts how we are adding? To the bad debts we have already added new bad debts, and now we are adding new RDD percentage RDD whose calculation we have done in the balance sheet asset side. Okay, against the debtors, and we came across this amount, that is 22,250. Now we have to, what we have to do? To the old bad debts, we have to add the new bad debts as well as the new RDD, and this would be the final amount of the bad debts. From it we have to deduct the old RDD, and what was the amount of old RDD? Rupees 3700. Okay, so after deducting this 3700 from 30,600, we are getting the final amount of bad debts, that is rupees 26,900. Okay, now last adjustment. Kane withdrew goods of rupees 6,000 for his personal use. Okay, so Mr. Kane is one of the partner, and the partner has withdrawn the goods for his personal use. Okay, so whatever would be the reason the goods are going out, they must be recorded to the trading account credit side. Okay, so how we have to record to the trading account credit side? See, buy goods withdrawn by a partner Kane for his personal use. Okay, buy goods withdrawn by Kane for personal use amounting to rupees 6,000. Okay, and where this should be recorded in second entry as we had taken in the drawing. See, 15,000 was his drawing in terms of cash, and 16,000 is his drawings in terms of goods. Against drawings, we have deducted it from capital of NANI. Okay. Now, with this, we have completed recording all the items given in the debit and credit side of the trial balance as well as items given on the adjustments. Now, we have to calculate the gross profit. Okay. Now, here are the amounts given on the credit side. Okay, and the amounts given on the debit side. Okay, amounts given on the credit side and amount given on the debit side. Now if we look at the amounts values, okay, we will come to know the amounts on the credit side are higher. So if we do the total of all these amounts, three amounts, then the total is rupees 12,01,000. 12,01,000. Then if we write the same total over here, 12,01,000, and then we do the total of the items given on the debit side of the trading account, and if we deduct the total of this, then we will get the gross profit as 15,500. Okay, so the gross profit is rupees 15,500. Now what we have to do, we have this gross profit which is carried down, we have to bring it down or brought it down. By gross profit brought down rupees 15,500 to profit and loss account credit side. Okay, now again what we have to do, we have to look at the amounts given on the debit side as well as on the credit side of the profit and loss account also. Generally the amounts over here on the credit side should be more. The value on the credit side should be more. Okay, but if you look at the amounts on the here in this illustration, especially amounts on the debit side are more, right? See, comparatively to the amounts given on the credit side, right? See, so what we have to do, we have to consider the total of these amounts. Which amounts? Amounts given on the debit side. Okay, because we are coming to know that the amounts given over here are more, so we should do the total of the amounts given on the debit side, and we have to write the same total on the credit side. What is the total? Rupees 2,30,200. Okay, so because the total on the debit side was more, so same total we have to write on the credit side. It is 2,30,200. Now what we have to do, we have to take the total of these two amounts. Okay, and that total we have to deduct from the total of the profit and loss account. Okay, what is the total? Rupees 2,30,200. So we have to deduct these amounts from the 2,30,200. Then we will come across the gross loss. Okay, in this illustration we are coming across gross loss, sorry, net loss. And what is the net loss? Rupees 2,13,750. Okay, now what we have to do, as we distribute the net profit to the partners in the given ratio, given proportion, we have to distribute the loss also to them. The loss is rupees 2,13,750. And how we have to distribute to the partners? In the ratio which has been given in the problem. And what is the ratio of distribution of the net profit and losses is given See, Nene and Kane are partners sharing profit and losses in the ratio of 6:4. 6:4 means 3:2. Why? If we come across the minimum values, okay, so 6:4 means 3:2. Okay, so what we have to do? We have to distribute this loss 2,13,750 to Nene and Kane in the ratio of 3:2. Okay, so how many parts of that profit of that loss we have to make? See, three parts to Nene and 2 parts to Kane. So total 5 parts we have to make. So we have to distribute this net loss 2,13,750 into 5 parts. Okay, and out of that 5 parts, 3 parts of loss should be transferred to the head of Nene, and 2 parts should be transferred to the head of Kane. Okay, so we will come across the amount rupees 1,28,250 gross loss to we will have to transfer to Nene, and 85,500 we have to transfer gross loss to Kane. Okay, remember this. See, this is the gross loss. So this is net loss. See, this net loss should be deducted from their capitals. Okay, because they have to manage that net loss. Okay, so this net loss should be deducted from their capitals in the balance sheet. So how we have to do? Capital we had recorded of Nene rupees 15 lakh. Now we have to deduct the net loss. Okay, because they have to compensate it, because we have to record this net loss to the partners, rupees 1,28,750 against Nene and rupees 85,500 against Kane. Okay, so we have to deduct that much of amount from their capitals because it is not appreciating. Their capitals are not appreciating. When capitals appreciate, increases when they get the net profit. Here they are getting net loss, so that should be compensated from their capital. So this net loss is distributed in the given ratio to both partners. Okay, now after getting this amount, rupees 13,71,750, and we have to deduct their drawings also, and we will get this final amount as the capital amount of Nene. Okay, similarly for Kane we had recorded his capital, and now we have distributed his part of loss, that is 85,500, and we have deducted that net loss from his capital. So we got rupees 9,14,500, but he has done two kinds of drawings also, drawings in terms of cash and drawings in terms of goods. So that drawings we have to deduct from his capital amounting to rupees 21,000. Okay, so if we deduct that drawings from his capital, we will arrive to the amount 8,93,500. that is the capital of Kane. Okay, so we got the capitals of Nene and Kane by the fluctuating capital method. Now all the other items we have recorded. Okay, now if we do the total of the amounts given on the balance sheet asset side, which amounts, see, total of the amounts given on the asset side of the balance sheet, from this item to this item. Okay, the total of the amounts given on the assets of the balance sheet is rupees 30,24,250. Okay, and if we look at the amounts given on the liability side of the balance sheet, and if we do the total of all the amounts given on the liability side of the balance sheet, it is same rupees 30,24,250. It means our balance sheet has been tallied. Okay, our balance sheet has been tallied and both the answers are matching. See, this was a problem given in the illustration. So today's quiz is based on that same illustration, right, on the same lecture. See, this is the quiz of day 20 part 1, where interest on PF investment is recorded. See, after investing the PF, you get the interest. So where this interest on PF investment is recorded, Is it recorded to the trading account debit side? Is it recorded to the profit and loss account debit side? Is it recorded as an asset, or is it recorded as a liability, or is it recorded to the partner's capital or current account, or none of the above? You have to give the correct answer. Okay. And what we will learn in our next lecture? In our next lecture, we will see illustration number 9, that is of Kranti and Sumangala. Okay, illustration. It is an illustration. Illustration number 9 of Kranti and Sumangala, which is given on page number 45 to 47. Thank you. Stay home. Stay safe.